What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for the 9th of June, 2025. We had a ton of updates to the PTU this week. We might even have our first vehicle sold exclusively in the game, which is a big deal, believe it or not, for this game. But don't worry, Alien Week is coming, so they will have plenty to sell then. All that and more on today's Week in Review. And as always, if this is your first week in review, this is where I take all the official Star Citizen news each week, put it into one video, and share some of my opinions about it. I also live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/SaltEMike, so stop by and say hi if you haven't yet. I really enjoy seeing you guys over here. Now, we do have a ton to cover with the PTU patches and all that stuff, but no sponsor this week. So if you're enjoying the show, you can simply support by subscribing, picking up some merch at saltemike.tv, or leaving a super thanks or hitting the join button down below. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get to those patch notes. All right, just to note, all the patches are for 4.2 PTU this week. And first up, on Monday, they continue to update the radiation HUD to make it easier to understand kind of how much danger we might be in. Next, they did a ton of updates to the Valakkar fight to make it more dangerous. Unfortunately, I don't play the moment these patches launch. I play the next morning, so I get the real backer experience of degraded servers. So I have yet to see a Valakkar fight this week. This is also not very promising for the live build because the servers are going to be significantly worse then. Yeah, the update to the Valakkar fight, though, was about the respawning change. Like, this is kind of the real update, I guess. They removed the ability to spawn inside the infirmary, and they added multiple outside the main building. And when you die, you respawn at one of these locations at random to prevent spawn camping. Obviously, you can still spawn camp if you have enough people, but yeah. So they adjusted how much it rains on ArcCorp and Hurston, and I've yet to actually show you what the rain looks like on these planets. And yeah, they really deliver on this stuff. As for Pyro 4, they added rain to it, but it does seem a bit sparse. I actually haven't seen rain on Pyro 4 when going to the ASD locations yet. And they did some really nice updates to missiles and torpedoes. Sort of. There's new minimum lock ranges, timers, and activation distance. So a torpedo won't arm if it hasn't traveled 1,500 meters, so they say. But it's actually being 1,500 meters from you, not even from the point in which the missile was launched. If you follow the missile, it won't arm. If you fly away from the missile, it will. So yeah, there's all sorts of goofy stuff going on. Another band-aid fix for Star Citizen instead of fixing the root of the problem, unfortunately. But yeah, hopefully they get this nailed down and make cap fights more engaging and fun. Hopefully. Tuesday, another open PTU, and the first thing in the notes I cannot find anywhere in the game. So please give me some hints if you have any. The devs have asked, I asked the devs in my Twitch chat, and they only found it as a random commodity, but it doesn't spawn anywhere or anything like that. Maybe on bounties, but it has no buy and sell locations. So we all think that this is a .x note that snuck in by accident for the new event that will be coming. Yeah, it's tritium. It's a helium isotope that's isotope that is radioactive, so likely to something it's got to have something to do with what we're doing now, but for a future patch, I guess. Then they made a pretty major change to the scanning doors. You not only can you not kill an NPC, you can't knock them out anymore either. You must wear the proper attire yourself if you want to open these doors. I actually came across players doing, wearing the doctor outfit, but they had dyed hair, so I knew it was a player, right? Things like that. It's kind of cool. They also added bigger clouds to Pyro 4 and did more torpedo polish. Wednesday, two big updates here. The first one is CIG actually hearing feedback from their community. They re-added the previous ways to earn favor at Wicklow. So I believe Hathor and all the script will have future turn-ins, which is why they probably removed them. And, we'll have a purpose for those, but now we have a purpose for Script and Karenite, now. So that's good. You don't have to go to Stormbreaker if you want to get even previous rewards. You obviously have to if you want to get some of the newer stuff, but if you want to go and get some, you were working towards some Wicklow things, yeah, you don't have to go to Stormbreaker, especially early, because it's going to be pretty PvP heavy, right? They also added the bomb racks to the in-game store to fall in line with the addition of the flight blades from the whole drama thing, but they haven't added the turrets and things like that for the Nova Tank or the Scorpius, and yeah, we don't know when that's going to happen, but they better do it, because everyone had an issue with everything and called it flight blades, right? Because it was just a simple way to explain their frustrations. Hopefully CIG understands that. Thursday, we start out with the testing feedback for once. They are adding more stuff that they heard from the community. The freight elevator will be at Lazarus, and that means Icties, Valakkar harvestables, armor, weapons, all that stuff will be much easier to get out and even farm. What's even cooler is these they don't work in the builds yet, end up at the location where you get the tram. So like your stuff will actually travel. Think contested zones, right? Where you drop it off inside the contested zone, but you get it in your hangar at the stations, right? Next is more Valakkar polish, but yeah, if you don't shoot the lit up parts, you won't kill it now. That's what it seems like. But up to this point, again, for the entire week, I did not get to fight the thing because it never worked. Then we had some scanning updates that are quite cool. The UI is slightly different from what we saw last week briefly, but there is a new update. The scan strength on the right will tell us kind of how much information we can gather. Low is just the name, medium is a bit more, and then strong is all the possible info to your MFD. The left side is the scan angle, and the max can be 90 degrees, but the ping still seems to work at 360 degrees for now, so either a UI update will come or the scanning gameplay will change at some point. It's probably going to be the second one, right? Now, these little cards, they show up when you ping a scanned object. Yes, even a Copian, no matter what the scanned object level. I'm not sure how this will play into anything really at the moment, though. If HUDs are working properly, right? This is redundant information. If we could pass this information on to other players in our party, with less scanning capabilities, perhaps making scanning ships viable, I don't know. That might be useful. Then for Friday, this may not feel like the year of stability, but they have done quite a few small fixes to the, basically making the experience filled with less friction. Still a ton of it, but less. This equipment swapping change is one of those kind of things, right? Basically, if I want to loot armor, and yeah, obviously this needs to be post tier 0, I would have to one by one remove whatever's attached to mine, loot that armor, and then attach it back. This automates that process. If it doesn't fit, apparently it will drop in your backpack first, and if that doesn't fit, it'll drop to the floor. My footage is 1-to-1 the same armor. It is Morozov armor to Morozov armor, so you could see that all of the attachments swapped perfectly. Then we had more Valakkar polish, and again, at the time of this recording on Sunday morning, the entire week, I have not seen a worm at all. And then lastly, people are nervous, and I think rightfully so. The Atlas Icti RAD is a thing now. They're naming the Atlas that you find at the Stormbreaker thing. So, yeah, and they're making it unique, which most people, for most people, I should say, all but solidifies that the other Icti versions would be sold on the store before ending up in the game. A little bit more on that when we get to video updates. For Patch Watch, if you're not familiar with these, this is where the community team grabs some of the lesser known updates in the patch and lists them here. So they let people know you can store Atlas parachutes in freight elevators now, so you can bring them up, multiples at a time. And then they also let us know, due to the refining changes, that refinery jobs are going to get much, much faster. And I've tested this. It's 1000% true. So much better. More on that in other updates. They have spoken about this a ton, but Mirai got a HUD upgrade. Distortion will now damage missiles and bombs and torps. Even EMPs can work, and we have most of this in our hands already, but people seem to like them. The missile changes. Targeting should be better. Everyone seems happy with the minimum distance changes, but obviously, like I mentioned before, it is very much a band-aid. And lastly, radiation widgets, but yeah, we already saw these, and yeah, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's what we have for the patches. Let me know what you guys think on that. It's a lot of stuff, mostly around Stormbreaker, obviously, but not entirely. And yeah, let me know what you think on that armor swapping change. I think post tier 0, it's going to be really fun. And with that, let's move into roadmap updates. Now, most, if not all, of the Roundup has already been covered, so it's not news, really. It's just them crossing their I's and dotting their T's, or crossing their T's and dotting their I's. But there is one thing that stood out to me. They list out the Wicklow ships that they're adding, and I want to take this moment to point out that Wicklow is just a loot box. I do a bunch of farming and hope the RNG is in my favor and get the ship that I want. That's not exactly great. I brought this up to Elliot Maltby in my Twitch chat, this guy, and they were aware of these issues before they even released Wicklow. I asked them to make a Spectrum post, and just so everybody is aware. I think most people don't know that they're 100% aware of this feedback, but they are, and they also know that the turn-in system is really bad and are either working on a solution or have plans laid out for one. So I figured I would let you know, and it hopefully won't be bad for much longer. So that's all we got for roadmap updates. Let's jump into the monthly report. All right, we'll start out with a different one than we normally do. AI Game Intelligence Dev Team. We'll skip most of the other AI stuff as well. Yet we don't usually see it in the servers, and now seeing 4.2, I don't think we're going to see good AI at all, probably. So yeah, to this, they actually have someone in UI doing more than ship stuff. They have actually seemed to want to resolve a ton of issues around the mission UI, but this one appears to be the one on our helmets, not the app. I would love to see a day where we don't have to scroll for 10 hours to do a cargo mission that I want, right? Then for animation, I think this one we already know, but they're talking about doing more stuff for Wicklow for upcoming content. So that's kind of cool. So I wonder if his experience will get deeper or more involved, something like that. Character art, they mentioned a new light armor. The only thing that I can imagine is that we will see the sniper armor that we saw at CitizenCon 2024. We see this in a moment that they're hard at work on. Well, we will see this in a moment. I'll talk about it, that they're hard at work on FPS scanning. So this is the counter to that. So that probably makes sense, right? Ship art, the UK has 4 unannounced ships that are in the works. The 4th mentioning new enter and exit animations. This sounds like a concept for Alien Week to me, but yeah, it'll probably be on behind the ships or something. The Paladin is through gray box, and the Pioneer will take a bit longer in white box because it's huge. They are back to work on the Ironclad as well, so I'm pretty excited for that. Obviously, a lot of people know that that's one of my favorite designs that I've seen in recent years. For the NA team, yeah, this is working on a variant that they won't mention, and many believe it's a Prowler, so who knows. And then the Apollo is making sure its medbeds look different since they have all 3 types. And then lastly, the Perseus has its gray box review in early June. For core gameplay, first thing I'll cover is hacking. Last time we saw anything from hacking was from an ISC with this image, so we'll see. The gameplay also is tied to the release of the Legionnaire, so maybe we get the Legionnaire once they finish this up as well. 3 quick ones next. They want to redo the harvestable system because it has always been subpar. They mentioned that we can QT to our ships, which is awesome. I hear this doesn't work in 4.2 anymore. I have to check that out. Item recovery, tier 1 is also in the works, so hopefully we're out of the tier 0 bottleneck soon. Next, Pirates finally get a bone where they're trying to make the Mantis interdiction work again, since it has not worked with server meshing since it's been implemented. Lastly, FPS Radar mentions a lot going on and how it works, which leads me to think that light armor is certainly the sniper one that we had talked about earlier, as they even said they want to make sure that they have counters to this when its gameplay launches. For UI, the last one really grinds my gears. They work on UI for an upcoming event, Mirai HUDs, and are making a fancy 3D UI when the 2D ones are horrible to use. How about we make the shopping experience better? Maybe we actually do the work that you said you were doing, that you were going to have done in 12 months or so with the star map. It's nearly been 24. This is so annoying. I like, every time I get to this section, it's like, where are your priorities? I know UI is a bottleneck, but it also seems like whoever's making the priorities is the bottleneck, right? With that, let's get to video updates where something good actually happens. That 12 months or so thing never ceases to be funny. We did have an ISC this week, though, for video updates, and this was a fairly spoiler-free look at the Apex Valakkar fight at the new sandbox activity. Make sure you call it one, Stormbreaker in Pyro. One thing of note I don't really have to clip out, I don't think, is that Jared said it'll be about 2 weeks until they release this patch from the time of the recording of that video. So I will only clip out one item here, and yeah, with everything else, you know, I cover the sources down below, linked in the description. So anything that we talk about is all down there. So you can check out the video yourself. It's pretty short. And, you know, if you've seen the fights or have not seen the fights but want to see more, all that stuff. Now, the one thing that I will clip out, though, has the gamers in this community really upset.
You can find new battle vehicles that can only be earned in game. I said choo-choo as well. This isn't a fucking train. It's got massive weapons. He's...
No, you just can't. You're just like... It's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Just kidding, no gamers are upset about this. So this is the first vehicle that you can exclusively earn in the game, if it actually is. Now, we look back at those Friday patch notes, and they gave an Atlas a unique name. So maybe this is just the RAD. That's what a lot of people think is going to happen here, and then they'll sell the rest on the store. We will see, but people are legitimately upset that they cannot buy this thing and have to play the game. It's comical. This community is cooked. I want to praise CIG if this is true, as it is a nice first step. But man, I would be as hyped as ever if they made just a ship for only the game. That would be nuts. But that's all for the video updates for this week. So let's move on to other updates. All right, and as always, we start out with the sneak peek. And similar to last week, people believe that this is a Prowler variant of some kind, and they're probably correct. I assume we will know on a behind the ships this coming week or something soon. Alien ships just have not really excited me so much. So what about you? You guys into them? Not? They've never done it. Maybe the Talon is the only one that I kind of like. For sub promo, this is all Stormbreaker stuff. So the $10 sub item is an ASD jacket, but the $20 sub item obviously gets the ASD jacket. And this is something that's really cool, but it bums me out because it's legit like the perfect reward for getting an Apex kill or something, right? I don't hate that they sell things like this because I don't care. I don't even care if you buy it. It has no gameplay implications at all. But this would have like kind of the perfect reward, you know, for that kind of thing, but it is what it is. And then they had the package, which just is the two combined. Then for dev posts, Valakkar armor buff is the first thing. Zach jumped in under the Monday patch notes to give more details on the changes to the Valakkar. Basically, you have to hit the glowy bits, but they're monitoring this and will absolutely make changes if they don't feel it works. Refining changes. Then a new face, to me at least, Highlander, popped up under the patch watch post to give us a ton of details on the differences between 4.1.1 refining and what we will see in 4.2. Really love to see it, and specifically trying to provide players choice that we were hoping to see, right? If I needed to get that stuff fast, I can actually get it in one session. If I wanted to get the most out of my work, I can wait, but it doesn't have to be a week, right? And then the year of stability. This is a post from Bearded, who is probably one of the more senior employees at the company. He's been there forever, that can only speak on server performance and not like the gameplay stuff, right? And that's not really his thing. But unfortunately, we have to hear this peel the onion comment again that we've been hearing for years, right? And the expectation was that this year would be different. Now, it does not feel different because I think that there's been a lot of content. Everyone saw the the server performance hit a wall, like a brick wall when Hathor came in. We saw them scramble to find new server configs that worked, that never did. This year, from a player perspective, feels very similar to last year on that note, right? Like I mentioned earlier, not necessarily on the little quality of life things or the friction in the game, but as far as servers, go look at the PTU right now. We are in single-digit server frame rates a lot. So what are your thoughts on this? It's pretty frustrating, and yeah, that's where I will leave it. So has this been the year of stability for you? well, not really. I mean, I think it's not for me, at least. It's been the year of stability from the start of the year because it was so bad, but we're still dealing with bad server frame rates and things like that. It's pretty frustrating. But outside that, have any of you got to fight the Valakkar, and how do you feel about it? And what do you think about this vehicle exclusivity in the game thing? So that's where I'll leave you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you want to go above and beyond, you can hit the join button, leave a super thanks, subscribe, buy some merch, all that stuff. And with that, I will catch you guys next week.